Hollywood film sets have never been safe for child actors. 15 seconds of fame on a bright studio stage has almost always come at a cost that lasts a lifetime. But the story of Brooke Shields might be the most unsettling of them all. She was posing for baby photography before she could walk, appeared in a Playboy magazine publication at just 10 years old, was cast as Woody Allen's young love interest at 11, played a child prostitute in a New Orleans brothel film at 12, and received directions on a movie set that no performer, let alone a little girl, should ever hear happen. When Blue Lagoon turned Brooke into a global celebrity on a tropical island, Time magazine named her the face of the 1980s, and yet she was only 15 years old. Then, the moment she grew into a young adult woman, Hollywood lost interest. I went to university, got an education, and came out. People were mad because I wasn't manipulatable in the same way. The day I brought her home from the hospital, I just knew she'd be a star. That's what Terry Shields decided the moment she held her newborn baby girl in the hospital delivery room. Brooke's father, a cosmetics executive at the Revlon corporate offices, had given Terry an envelope full of cash, believing she would end the pregnancy. But her mother kept the money and the baby. Frank and Terry were never married. He was largely absent, and Terry, a single mother struggling alone in a New York City apartment, saw her daughter's beautiful face as a golden ticket. Brooke's sort of like a work of art, and like any beautiful painting in a gallery, I think the world should enjoy Brooke and view her. So Terry puts her young daughter to work in front of cameras. Her first job was an Ivory soap television commercial at 11 months old. A baby girl handing her mother a white bar of soap. Terry then walked into the offices of Ford Models, the most influential modeling agency in New York City, and demanded they start a children's division with Brooke as their first child model. And so they did. Terry became the original momager, booking her daughter in television commercials for household brands like Band-Aid and Johnson baby products. But Terry's ability to manage anything was compromised by a serious drinking problem. When Brooke was only 2 or 3 years old, a toddler in a small apartment, her mother would leave her with a male neighbor while she went out to bars late at night. She would leave me there, and we would hang out. He and I would just climb into bed and fall asleep before Mom would eventually return. When Brooke was a 10-year-old girl, Terry booked her for a Playboy magazine publication called Sugar and Spice. Photographer Gary Gross ran the studio photo shoot, and Terry signed a legal contract giving him unrestricted ownership of the photographs, including the right to republish them for any purpose. To young Brooke, posing under studio lights felt normal. We were in the art world, surrounded by fashion models. Everybody walked around naked, but Terry knew exactly what she was selling. In a television interview, she said, "Not only can they see total innocence, they have the sexy person too. It's a forbidden fruit, and that is really appetizing." That's a mother describing the sexual appeal of her 10-year-old daughter on camera. Meanwhile, young Brooke had become her alcoholic mother's caretaker. From the time I could remember, I was protecting my mama. She was everything. As Terry's drinking worsened, Brooke found escape in her work on set. Felt much better about myself when I worked. So I began to crave my jobs. But when those jobs became Hollywood movies, the film industry gave her a deeply troubling typecast. At 11, she made her film debut in the horror movie Alice, Sweet Alice, which got her noticed by filmmaker Woody Allen. Despite being just 11 years old, she was cast as a teenage love interest in the comedy film Annie Hall. After filming wrapped, Woody Allen asked Terry out on a dinner date, and she went. Shortly after, Brooke's scene was cut from the final edit. Her next movie pushed things further. Pretty Baby, set in 1917 in a New Orleans brothel with velvet curtains and dim lamplight, cast 12-year-old Brooke as a child raised among sex workers. In the film, she stands on a wooden stage being auctioned off to wealthy businessmen sitting in chairs. She shares a kiss with 29-year-old actor Keith Carradine. She later said, "I had never kissed anybody before, so I didn't know how to do it." There was also a real slap across the face from actress Susan Sarandon, not a staged one. That was a directing choice that prioritized the child's well-being. The television interviews promoting these films were just as disturbing. TV host Bill Boggs told 13-year-old Brooke in a brightly lit studio, "Every man in the world is potentially interested in you. I really like Brooke Shields, and somebody will say you can get arrested for that, and I hate that." And the studio audience laughed. Journalist Barbara Walters asked her in a sit-down interview, "What are your measurements?" Printed magazine publications captioned her photos as "million-dollar jailbait, America's most famous 12-year-old hooker." And every one of these television interviews happened with Terry sitting right next to her daughter on the interview couch. When asked, "Can't someone say you are exploiting the sensuality of a child?" Terry responded, "Well, if that's all I was doing, probably yes, but that's not all I'm doing." Terry loved being recognized in public as Brooke Shields' mother. "We were making it in the world." Terry also loved that Brooke had been photographed at red carpet events with John Travolta, Scott Baio, Leif Garrett, and John Kennedy Jr. When Brooke dated Travolta, she was 16. He was 27. When she was linked to Scott Baio, she was 12 or 13. He was 17 or 18. These age gaps were not only accepted, they were celebrated by newspaper tabloids. At 15, Brooke stood in front of a camera for the Calvin Klein denim jeans advertising campaign. "You want to know what comes between me and my Calvins? Nothing." The double meaning was never explained to the teenage girl. "It never occurred to me it could mean I wasn't wearing underwear. And then paparazzi cameras flashing and people screaming at my mother on the sidewalk. How could you?" Despite public outrage, Calvin Klein jeans sales jumped from $65 million to $110 million. Then came Blue Lagoon. Two teenage cousins developing a sexual relationship on a deserted tropical island, surrounded by ocean waves after a shipwreck. Director Randall Kleiser's intentions were darker than Brooke knew. "I didn't know that Randall had told studio executives they were going to really see this young actress be awakened and catch it on film camera. I was evidently their master plan. They wanted to witness something really happen. They wanted controversy." Against a $4.5 million budget, Blue Lagoon made $58.8 million at the box office. Her face appeared on 11 major glossy magazine covers in 11 months. A toy company released a plastic doll in her image. From that point on, the industry saw her not as a person, but as a product. Endless love continued the pattern. Director Franco Zeffirelli taunted teenage Brooke on set, twisted her toe during an intimate bedroom scene to get a pained facial expression for the camera, and told her she'd never be a real actress. Through all this, Brooke found one genuine friendship with pop star Michael Jackson. They met when she was 13. "We both understood what it was like to be in the spotlight from a very young age, standing on stages under bright lights. We acted like little kids together. I don't think either one of us had the safe environment to do that." In 1980, Brooke walked into a courtroom and sued photographer Gary Gross for the rights to those childhood Playboy photographs. After 3 years, the judge ruled against her. The contract Terry signed was legally binding. A court decided that because a mother signed away her child's rights on paper, that child had no power to reclaim them. At 18, she tried the adventure film Sahara and received a Golden Raspberry Award trophy for Worst Supporting Actor. With fewer movie offers, Brooke left Hollywood and enrolled at Princeton University, walking through ivy-covered campus gates. She graduated cum laude in French literature in 1987. But when she returned, the studios punished her for growing up. People were mad that I had a college education because I wasn't manipulatable in the same way. It was like starting from -10. While struggling to find work, a high-profile Hollywood executive invited her to dinner to discuss a role. It wasn't about the role. I became a victim of assault and was never going to talk about it again, because if I had, my career would have been over. Brooke's comeback came through the bright lights of Broadway theater stages. A revival of the musical Grease proved she had range, and during that period she finally cut ties with her mother. One week after Terry left their shared Manhattan office on a Friday evening, Brooke hired movers who emptied the entire space, including her mother's personal desk, and shipped everything to a new location. I needed to go cold turkey. Because of her drinking, I could not trust her judgment. From Grease came guest roles on The Simpsons and the NBC sitcom Friends, where she played a memorably unhinged stalker. That one comedy episode led to her own show, Suddenly Susan, 4 seasons and 2 Golden Globe nominations. In 2003, after the birth of her first baby daughter in a hospital delivery room, Brooke suffered severe postpartum depression. I did not know I had postpartum depression. I did know that I wanted to die. I was incapable of holding or kissing my perfect, tiny little baby girl. All I could think was that everyone would be better off without me. She recalls standing at the window of her New York City apartment, contemplating the fall. When she spoke publicly on television, it helped countless women reach out for help. Movie star Tom Cruise publicly attacked her on a television talk show for using antidepressant medication, calling them mind-altering drugs and saying she did not understand psychiatry. His views came from Scientology religious doctrine. Brooke's response was direct. It is not the history of psychiatry. It is my history, personal and real. After she wrote an opinion column in the New York Times newspaper, Cruise eventually apologized in person. Despite everything, she is not half as bitter as most people would be. You can go through this whole life and not be jaded and not be angry and still have an open heart. In 2012, Terry died in a hospital bed following dementia. And despite everything, Brooke mourned her mother with tears. In a handwritten epilogue, she wrote, "You were ambitious and street smart, and although intensely loving, you were also an addict. It was as if you were not only addicted to alcohol, but also addicted to me. And yet, I would not have traded you for any other mother. I am getting bits of my light back, and it feels so good. I feel like the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade balloons on the streets of New York City, just going to soar over the skyline. Just have that peace of mind to float and feel full and feel light."